Mikko has played at home. How did you sort of come up with the decision to go with Cam in back-to-back games here?
Well, I think if we're going to grow as a team, we've got to reward performances. And Talbot was excellent in St. Louis, and we knew we had two important games, two really good teams, Minnesota and Calgary. So we opted to reward Talbs, and then Mikko will play against Calgary. So and I said this to people before, rhythm is important, and we've got to get our goalies in a little bit better rhythm than what we were doing, and this allows us to do that. So, but it's also based on reward. You know, when a guy plays that well, you want to give him a second opportunity.
Ken, it looks like Zhekov will debut tonight for you guys. What, in your mind, will make this a productive debut? What would you like to see from him?
Well, look, at practice, he looks like an exceptional player. The way he releases, the way he shoots the puck, scores on every warm-up drill. Most of the information we have is we've watched some games this year in the NHL, not much, but we watched all of his goals in the AHL, and we think we've got the potential for a line, whether it's the one that he's going to play on tonight or another one. We've got the potential to put him in those scoring positions with what we need. So it's going to take some time. I think the nice part is that having played for Bill Peters before, the terminology and the language is almost identical to what we use. So he's used to that part of it. So I think it's going to be a little bit easier transition. But look, this is a guy that hasn't played in a week, hasn't skated much in the last little while with the team, and we just got to be patient here. But man, he's got an element that we could sure use.
Ken, a lot's been made about how much Connor's been playing under you specifically. Is there an ideal shift length in your mind for him, and how do you kind of manage his minutes, and what have you learned in the last couple of weeks here?
I don't look at it from a standpoint of shift length with Connor. I do with other people, but when you're a glide player like he is, you're able to get around the ice very easily. I don't think shift length is that important for a player like that. And I think we can play him 25 plus because he plays 5-on-5 and on the power play. It's a whole different animal if you're killing penalties. You can't do it that way. You're not going to get a guy above 22 without hurting him. The only guy that really plays above 22 and kills penalties is Kopitar, and he's been doing it for a few years. So I think we can look at 24, 25 minutes a lot because he's 5-on-5 in power play, and because he's such an effortless skater, I think he can play on the move more than most people have to stop and go.
Ken, how exactly did Kajula get hurt on the road?
He got hurt at practice. He's day to day, so it's all we're waiting for is the swelling to go down, and then we're good to go. So he might be a couple of games here and ready to go. So.
Was it during a drill or something like that?
What's that?
During a drill?
It was during actually a fun exercise, so at the end of practice.
Ken, you've had the team for about 3 weeks now. Have you had a chance to build a better connection between the forwards and the defensemen?
Not yet. Getting better, but not yet. It's a term in our sport where the forwards have to work for the defensemen and the defensemen have to get up for the forwards. And that's when you turn on your video with no sound, nothing against play-by-play people or whatever, but no sound, and you can see 5 defined players in the picture, you're having success, offensively or defensively. And we show significant progress in that, but we're not there yet. We're not where consistently you see all 5 guys in the picture, but we're getting a lot better.
Ken, you guys have the possession game figured out since you've been here. If you believe in Corsi, your Corsi's great. You guys have the puck a lot, but you're not scoring many. You're averaging 2 goals a game. There's this old hockey adage that says if you're getting chances, the goals are going to come, right? If you got the puck, the goals are going to come. How long do you keep believing in that before you have to start to do something to make some goals come?
Well, that adage has changed. To me, getting chances is not relevant. Possession time is everything. And the more possession time you have, the higher the quality of chances you get. And we're increasing significantly in possession time. And there's a philosophy that goes with that. How do you maintain possession of the puck? What do you do in the offensive zone? What do you do on your entries? What do you do on your forecheck? It's all connected. And our players have really bought into that. Now, sometimes we get extremes where after the first 6 minutes in St. Louis, for 14 minutes, we didn't do it. And then for 35 minutes after that, starting in the second period, we were incredible. But we're getting that. And that's why I'm not worried about scoring goals right now. I'm not as concerned about that as I am on the consistent possession time. Possession time equals offense, and we've got to keep doing those things that we're doing. And one of the things that shows up on visual is when the other team starts to play straight-legged, you know you're going to get a real quality chance because it looks like you're on the power play even though it's 5-on-5. And we're getting to that where we're making the other team play more and more straight-legged, and that's what we've got to try to get to.
Ken, Minnesota has 10 comeback wins this season. As a coach and as a team, does that ever play in your mind if you happen to find yourself up on the Wild tonight?
Not so much. I know many very well, and I know a lot of their players very well. They're just a team that they don't beat themselves and they don't crack very often. You might beat them, like last night they got beat, but they were still right there, right till the end. And they're a team that they play a very mature game, they play a very compact game, and they don't beat themselves. So those are the teams that you really have to prepare for because you have to go the distance against those teams. If you think you're going to win playing 40 minutes or even 50 minutes against many, you're making a big mistake. And because of the maturity level of their team, they don't get rattled easy, they don't make big errors. There isn't big swings in their game. You just got to stay with it a little bit longer than they do. That's a tough chore, but if you expect to win the game against them, you got to do it.
Ken, your team is winning these tight games or grinding out these victories. I know it's a fine line between winning and losing in this league, but what is it a mindset? Is it just the attention to details? What is it that gets you over the hump, the difference between winning a 2-1 game and losing a 2-1?
You mean in winning the close games?
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's trying not to win quick. You know, the players are starting to buy in that we have enough in us that we can go the distance. And I think that's the biggest change for me since the first couple of games when I was here is that we're willing to go the distance more and more in games, and it's allowing us to win these close games and get points late in games because we're not getting discouraged. We were getting discouraged before, and it had a major impact in the flow of the game for us, but now we're staying with it. We're keeping each other going on the bench. I like the vocal response on the bench now when things aren't going right. We're popping our head up and we're starting to chew on each other, to get going, to keep on it, and that's a good sign. We're not going quiet on each other.